I don't know. Say it with me. I don't know. Good God, it is liberating. I am a towering mountain of ignorance. I don't know. We're taught to believe that everything has a reason. And so we observe the world, we see what happened, and then we define the thing that happened as the reason the thing happened. But I think a lot of the time we end up mixing up thinking something with knowing something. This is why it can be so impossible to talk about certain topics with certain people. They've tied those suppositions to themselves so tightly with knots of narrative and constructed reality and values that there's just no untying it. And maybe unsurprisingly, in those situations, the best course of action is just to be friends. Maybe even ask them about that thing that they've created, because to them, it's immensely valuable. The world as we perceive it, as we've built it inside of ourselves, is a lie that we tell to ourselves, not out of deception, but out of necessity. We have no other choice. We simply cannot understand the world as it is, and so we construct. But sometimes I just have to tell myself the thing that is definitely true, the truest thing I can say, which is that I don't know.
Never know.
This is the Everyone's Agnostic Podcast with Bob Pondillo and Cass Midgley.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 172 of the Everyone's Agnostic Podcast. I'm Cass Midgley. Today, Bob and I conversed with Thomas Amun. Thomas grew up in the heart of Memphis until he was 18 years of age, a young Christian boy who was on his way to Nashville to attend a private Christian college and play his favorite sport, basketball. While things were looking good on the court, Thomas found himself having moments in the classroom where he started questioning his faith. During his sophomore year, at the time just 20 years old, Thomas was kicked out of school for violating a school rule. Already questioning his Christian beliefs, Thomas saw the perfect opportunity to join the journey of a free thinker. He's now continuing his higher education, a junior at Belmont University, studying journalism. Thomas finds himself struggling with the outside world and how the figment of God probably doesn't exist in this chaos. Thomas is a poet, and he recites one during the interview, and we feature a spoken word song that he wrote at the end. As we do with most of our guests, we asked Thomas some of his favorite movies near the end. He listed 2 movies that have impacted his life, Menace to Society and Fruitville Station. I watched both of them this week, in between editing this episode. I wish I'd watched them before we had him in the studio. I think I would have better understood his plight. Sometimes there seems to be no end to the unfairness of this world, the injustice, and the rage, the righteous indignation. Where are people supposed to go with their rage? It seems to be difficult just to sweep under the rug. And even if we succeed at that, it stays alive and waits for us to confront it. Where do we go with our anger? When I was a Christian, I took it to the cross, the great sponge of all that's wrong in the world. It's no wonder we humans invented the scapegoat, the dumpster for all our sins, and all the sins inflicted upon us. Some people proudly admit that they will never forget the transgressions made against them. 9/11, for example. And yet, when other cultures hold on to the sins committed against them, they're told to get over it. For example, when people protest violently, others wish they'd protest peacefully. Yet when those same people protest peacefully, they're still criticized. What are they supposed to do? And what makes some people think that they get to tell others how they should or shouldn't express their anger at the injustice? It's blatantly hypocritical to violate and hurt people by means of moral indecency and then have the gall to require those same abused people to be morally decent in their retaliation. And yet here we find ourselves. When I was a Christian, I was a part of a group of men who truly believed in God and His full power to perform signs and wonders and display Himself openly in modern times. And yet we knew God was not showing out. So we searched the Scriptures to find a reason why God would withhold His power. We found 2 Samuel 21. During King David's reign, the land was suffering a famine. He sought the Lord, and God said, "It's because of Saul and his bloody house." because he put the Gibeonites to death. Now Saul was long dead, and he had violated a covenant or a treaty that he'd made with the Gibeonites not to kill them, and yet went ahead and killed them. So David found a remnant of the Gibeonite people, and he asked them how he could make this right. Now keep in mind, none of the people who fucked this whole thing up were alive. These were the children and grandchildren of those that experienced that tragedy. The Gibeonites asked that they might be able to hang the remaining sons of Saul, and there were 7 of them. And they did. And the famine was broken. So we, the Christians I was a part of, asked ourselves what offense might be causing God to withhold his power and blessings to us. And because we were in Oklahoma, we chose to try and make amends with the Native Americans. But instead of hanging real people, we would appropriate the execution of Jesus as the atoning equalizer. But no matter what we did to apologize to Native people or appropriate the blood of Jesus over this transgression that our forefathers had committed, God was still silent. Once when my wife endured a great injustice, a pastor that we both looked up to greatly, Don Finto, told us, quote, "There's no justice down here," unquote. It felt like a moment of truth, a moment when we were backstage with the pastor and he was being fully honest with us. There was a resignation in his voice. There's no justice down here. And I knew pretty quickly that he had deferred his hope for justice to the afterlife, the New Jerusalem, when all things would be made right. What a convenience. In a purely secular sense, I think there's truth in both the never forget camp and the get over it camp. It's not really possible to truly forget a mean, hurtful violation. And yet, it does not serve our values, our desire to be happy, lighthearted, and free, to keep record of those wrongs. I hear this tension in Thomas's story. He is clearly a pro-black advocate and activist. He's clearly angry and has a right to be, and yet he has befriended many white people. At the end of the day, he just wants to love people, and yet he can feel guilty for going out with his white friends who literally have no idea what his life is like. Even for him to come on this show with 2 white hosts and bare his soul like he did had to cause tension in his heart and mind. But what you're going to witness here is a young man with a big heart, a strong sense of justice, and a hunger to learn, a hunger to be a part of the solution, not the problem. He's a student of the world, a bridge builder, and he should be proud of the work he's doing to make this world, this godless world, a better place for everyone. We taped this conversation on September 17th, 2017. We interview people you don't know about a subject no one wants to talk about. We hope to encourage people in the process of deconstructing their faith and help curb the loneliness that accompanies it. We think the world's a better place when more people live by sight, not by faith. You can subscribe to our podcast on most podcast platforms and leave a review wherever you listen. Also, you can support us monetarily in 2 easy ways. You can pledge $1 per episode or more through Patreon. That's patreon.com/EA Podcast. Or you can leave a lump sum donation through PayPal at our website, everyone'sagnostic.com. The smallest contribution is greatly appreciated. If you're a listener of this podcast and are lonely in your community as an agnostic or atheist, we have a private support group on Facebook that you can join. First, friend me on Facebook, private message me that you'd like to be added. Give me a brief description of your relationship to the show or why you want to be in the group. I do screen applicants briefly to protect the confidentiality of the group. Our opening monologue is an excerpt from a YouTube by Hank Green titled Towering Mountain of Ignorance. The music behind it is Never Know by Jack Johnson. The segue music on this episode is by Ludwig Göransson from the movie soundtrack for Fruitful Station. Thanks for listening, and try to cooperate with reality while making effective changes to improve it. So today our guest is Thomas, and we met. All right, so this guy Chris Johnson that did the movie A Good Life, or right?
A better life.
A better life.
Yeah.
I always get that wrong.
Well, good, better, best.
Anyway, he came to Nashville and was showing the movie, the documentary, at Vanderbilt. And you showed up to see the movie. And afterwards, during Q&A, you had some great questions. Afterwards, we went out for drinks. And, you know, it was just really cool meeting you in that context. And then since then, we've been trying to get you on the show. And you live here in Murfreesboro, so we got live in the studio.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That's good. We like that. We like live.
Yeah. I love live, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Skype is, it's the audio problems and stuff.
Yeah.
There's always a half-second delay, too, so there's kind of this conversation.
Yeah, it's weird. It's you got to wait. It doesn't.
Yeah. You don't have to wait.
And you have to stop talking so that they can start talking. Whereas right in here, we can talk all over each other and still hear us. But you're right here in Murfreesboro. You're a college student?
Yes, sir.
Where do you go?
I'm going to Belmont right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
good.
sir.
Yeah, I used to teach at MTSU.
Yeah.
A while ago.
You did some time at MTSU too, right, or not?
No.
I thought you had.
Nah, I didn't do any time at MTSU.
Yeah, I did.
That sounds like
I did about 16 years.
Like prison term, but
That's right.
So, what are you?
I'm rehabilitated.
What year are you at Belmont?
Right now, I'm a junior.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you studying?
Journalism.
All right.
Yeah, journalism.
Excellent. Good program at Belmont University in Nashville. Good one. Was it a Baptist school to start?
Right. Yeah, it was.
But it's not kind of like secular or something.
Before I went to Belmont, I was at another school called Welch College. That was a free will Baptist Bible college.
Okay.
First, then it changed to Welch. And I actually got in trouble at that school. So
where is that?
That was in Nashville. They just moved to Gallatin though.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Welch.
How
do you spell that?
WELCH.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's a Free Will Baptist.
Yep, it's a Free Will Baptist. It was on the west end of Nashville, right by Vanderbilt. It was a very small school.
Okay, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, nobody really knew about it.
Yeah. So not too many students, 1,000?
No, that's probably why I got kicked out, though.
And why did you get kicked out? What was the thing? Don't want to go there?
No.
Not going to go there.
Oh, you got that out of your system, whatever it was. So, now you can go back to college. So that's good. Yeah.
Talk about your religious upbringing, like your family. Are your parents religious and your siblings and such?
Oh, yeah. I come from a very religious background. I grew up Church of Christ. Most of my family still is Church of Christ. I grew up kind of always like just deep into the faith. I did my studies, heavily into the Bible. I always prayed every morning, every night. But around the time when I started going to college, going to a Christian school, I started questioning things because, first of all, the school I was going to, once again, was a Free Will Baptist college.
Yeah, what does that mean anyway, Free Will Baptist?
It's just an emphasis on
your free will.
Free will.
Yeah, free will.
Think about Calvinism.
Oh.
Predestination.
Okay.
So no free will, basically, as far as God chooses. The elect.
The elect has been chosen.
And so I think free will emphasis is a pushback against that, to where it's up to you. You get to choose God. God's already...
Okay.
Jesus died for everybody, but...
Yeah. Well, why didn't you just go like to a Church of Christ college or something? Is there some place like that?
With the grades I had coming out of high school, they offered me a basketball scholarship.
Okay.
So I was like, cool. I can just go that way. And then my plan was to, go there and get my grades up and then try to play at a D1 school. And that just kind of didn't go the way I planned.
Yeah. Is Lipscomb more, what is that?
It's Church of Christ.
That's
Church of Christ. Okay.
Yeah, that's where I was trying to go, but I didn't have the grades.
You're right. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. All right. Church of Christ is very, Bible literacy. I mean, it's really, you study the Bible, you get into it. Yeah, very strict. Yeah.
I don't play no instruments or nothing.
No.
I used to have friends coming up because everybody think like in the black community, like you go to these like churches with big organs and drums.
Sure.
And people would come to my church and be like,
"Where's the band?
Well, yeah, where's the live music?" And we just all singing
very quiet.
Acapella.
And no speaking in tongues and no rolling on the floor and all that shit. Nothing like that.
My mom and them, they used to call it like witchcraft. But on my dad's side, when I used to go to church with my grandmother, she would believe in all of that.
All that. Yeah, sure. The gifts. They call it the gifts.
Yeah, I could never get into that stuff.
Interesting.
So you're growing up in that environment, and I mean, it does sound like it meant something to you, and it's especially when you're young and you get that's a part of your life. It's almost like Santa Claus or anything. Like once you're told that it's true, it's just a part of your life. The thing about children, right? They're concrete thinkers. They're not abstract thinkers. They don't question it. And so it just becomes a matter of fact. And then you get to college. Now, do you remember like some of the things that were like weighing on you with doubts or whatever? It's like, what about Adam and Eve? What about hell? What were some of
it was mornings I was crying because I couldn't believe some of the things I was reading in the Bible. The whole Adam and Eve type thing, talking to a snake. I never could grasp the concept of the devil. I could never grasp the concept of why if God is so powerful and knowing how could he create something so evil unless God himself is evil as well. So I would have those questions, and I was taking these classes like Introduction to Old Testament survey, New Testament survey, and just certain classes. And when the professors or the theologians or whatever they want to call themselves were speaking, and people was asking these weird questions, and I would just be in the back of the class just like, man, this is like some dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just does not make any sense, and nobody's like looking at the logical reasons of why it doesn't make sense. And I started heavily just in that time, I had a lot of questions, so I just went out and searched. I just started buying more books. I started, doing more research and things like that. YouTubing like I'm a. It became my life, man.
So, what are some of your favorite? Like, Christopher Hitchens. What did you end up watching or getting a lot of?
What really got to me was I started off just studying different religions. So I started with Muslims, and then I got a hold to Louis Farrakhan.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and he turned me into like he taught. They believe in Jesus, but they believe in like a whole nother different type of Jesus, like the rebellious type of Jesus. So I was listening to him, and he hooked me on to just different other sources and different other things. So then I would hop from him to Carl Sagan. There's a guy named Brother Polite I was watching. Then I would go to Neil Tyson, and then it was just some of everywhere, just so many things. I just started just looking up. And then what messed me up was the documentary Zygus. When I watched that,
Zygus,
that just kind of really popped it off for me, and I was just like,
My son saw that, and he was like, "Dad, you got to see this." Right.
Yeah, that really is a mind blower for students. And a lot of apologists have popped up going, "No, you can't believe that. I'll tell you what's really going on." There's a lot of apologists out there.
Well, it sounds like you had a pretty strong appetite because you went on this journey, self-educating yourself. Nobody, you're sitting at the back of the room and you're looking around and saying, this is dumb, but you didn't just walk away and like, fuck it, I'm out.
Right.
You went on a journey.
And I'm still going.
Yeah, you're still on it.
Still going. I told my brother this the other day. I said, man, I'm in the middle of the road and I don't know where the hell I'm going.
There you go.
I don't know where the hell. And I'm okay with that, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The journey is the journey. Like, the arrival is not the point.
Right.
No. Just
the journey is to walk the path, not to get there, really. And
you know what? With that, I think the Christian belief is like so based on the Alpha and the Omega. We're just concerned about what happened in the beginning and what happened at the end. We're not concerned about what happened in between. Isn't that true?
Yeah.
It's so true. Yeah. Even the name of God, I've never thought of this, man. This is really cool. The name of God in the Bible is the Alpha and the Omega. And believers and followers of that God end up just consumed with the bookends, and they're not very present in the moment.
Wow. That's right. It's like jelly on a bread, and who would think the bread would taste sweeter? You know what I mean? The bread is...
So you got your Ken Hams, where the big deal is the Genesis, how we got here. And they double down on that, no matter how much science you present. They're like, no, this is so they're hard set on the Alpha.
Yeah.
And then the afterlife is the biggest deal to these people. Good point, man. Touche.
Yeah.
Really.
Wow.
We've always talked about how religion kind of takes you out of the moment,
Yeah.
But the fact that the name of God that's emphasized in the Bible represents that kind of, emphasis on
it's supposed to be everything, but they don't consider the middle part.
Well, and that's not everybody. Obviously, there's Christians that are more present than others on this. But I'm a broad brush on here so much.
Yeah. Well, we get it.
So, I guess, did you say a second ago that you were crying?
Yeah. I would cry in the morning because every morning I used to just read my Bible and probably say a little prayer. But I remember when I got like 18, 19, I had just graduated high school.
You're still reading the Bible?
Still reading the Bible tough. And it was just certain things. I want to remember what verse it was that I was reading. And I think, it was the book of Job. And where God had said, he was talking to the devil and was like, look what you have made me do to one of my most faithful servants. And I'm like, how can, once again, this most powerful being let something intervene in your most faithful servant? So I was like, what if that was me? Yeah. And I remember just crying that morning, just like, and I prayed to God, and I was just like, hey, God, help me believe in you more. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure. And people use Job in a weird bunch of different ways. But when you really, when you really look at it, it's like, what the hell? God is making a deal with the devil to fuck with a guy on the ground,
to make a point.
To make a point. I mean, come on.
To try to flex his loyalty in front of him. Seriously,
what is the
problem?
It's like God needs a lot of glory, don't he? I mean, he needs a lot more than most of us do.
He needs a lot of attention, man.
Yeah.
A lot of attention.
I mean, he's God.
Right.
Why does he just calm down?
Yeah, he's insecure.
But here's what I love about when we have people on. You got people that are lifelong atheists, and they've never believed, and they just can, like Bob,
right?
They can say, oh, this is nonsense. But when you believed it, and now. So I read something this week. Bob, you remember this? It was in that letter I sent you today. But there's a blogger by the name of Libby Ann, and she was raised in Quiver Fuller, I think, and she was raised very deeply religious, homeschooled and stuff, and she left, and now she blogs. And she said, I didn't lose my faith. I cut it out of my bone and marrow with a knife. I scraped it out, Yeah. And so what I'm saying about what I'm hearing with the crying is that here you are. Another, sun goes up, sun goes down, and you're back in the Bible the next morning, and you're reading something, and it's ripping you apart because this God that was supposed to be good and loving and powerful is showing up right here on the page in front of you as an asshole, and you're like conflicted. Right. It's like I wouldn't do that if I were God, and I wouldn't want you to treat me like you're treating Job, and it's almost like you're married to a woman and all of a sudden she goes psycho on you and you're like, fuck, this is not what I signed up for. And it's heartbreaking. And so what I love it when believers come in here on the show and they say, look, I left kicking and scratching because I loved God with all my heart.
Yeah.
I loved the framework that it provided for my life, the meaning it gave me. I loved feeling loved by my Heavenly Father, and now it's disintegrating before my eyes, and I'm sad, deeply sad.
Yeah.
That was you?
That was me, most definitely. I was, and what affected me more was when I went on this journey was that I was already sad because of the stuff I was learning to not be true, but that certain family members had also turned on me. Not turned on me, but just like, he's losing his mind up there in Nashville. He's kind of going crazy
because you were showing signs of like questioning your faith,
and just questioning my faith. And my thing is if I'm questioning something, at least I'm going out here just to do the research. I'm not just out here blurting stuff I don't know. And I would talk to them and just say, why aren't you questioning your faith? How do you know this stuff is true? So for that kind of happen, it kind of hurt my feelings too.
Yeah. So they didn't turn their back on you completely though. You didn't lose your mom or your sisters.
No. My mom,
they'll love you.
Yeah, sure. She loved me, but now it was just like certain cousins and things like that.
Yeah.
That was just saying little slick stuff behind my back and kind of got back to me. And then a lot of people thought I had just went off the rampage and joined the Nation of Islam.
Oh, because
you're studying Farrakhan.
Yeah, because I studied Farrakhan.
And people white people anyway, do really fear Farrakhan because he's so. Well, like you said, he's in your face. He says we want to change now.
Right.
We have waited too long. And kind of thing.
I haven't studied him much. This is going to sound.
He's like Malcolm X. A lot like Malcolm X.
Well, and that's kind of in my mind. I had kind of equated the two guys. So the other day when I saw something where Farrakhan was on a panel, I was like, he's still alive.
Honestly, he was very sick.
Yeah,
too,
he's 83, 84 now.
Is that right?
But yeah, he was sick.
Yeah.
He was
well, sick. And I remember the story. I think with Malcolm X that he went to prison, And the reason he changed his name to X was that he gets into prison and he meets these guys, some older guys that are wise and stuff, and they took him and they said, you know, that last name you got is a slave name. Yep. You know that, right?
Oh, that's right.
He was Malcolm Little.
Yeah, and he said, you gonna claim the name of your master?
Yeah.
And then he took him to the Bible. The dictionary.
Yeah. Right.
And he said, let's look up the word black.
Yeah.
And in the dictionary, it has to do with evil. It has to do with
darkness, evil.
These men. And he goes, no, let's look up white, and it says pure.
Yeah.
Right.
And Malcolm's eyes were open to like this white hegemonic supremacy.
Yeah, and he was pushing. X was pushing against Martin Luther King.
Well, for a time,
for a while,
a while,
just
because he was going slow. He wants to get going here.
And Martin thing was he just wanted a seat at the table. He just wanted to sit with white people. Malcolm was like, no, we need our own businesses. we need our own, congressmen and things like that. Our own policemen.
And he's right. He's right.
Because it's insulting to say, because I can, I'm putting words in his mouth. But you can hear the argument between those two schools.
Oh, absolutely.
And one is, I don't have to get the white man's permission to be powerful.
Yeah.
Why does he have to stamp approval on my life?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I get that.
And whereas Martin was like, hey, they control the keys. That's the way we get in is by way of befriending them or whatever. And they're like, fuck that.
I think before, there's a video I watched where Martin, but I think it was 2 or 3 days before he got assassinated, or maybe it was a week, where he talks about going to the White House to get reparations.
Oh, right.
For things.
Right.
And then,
with Johnson.
With
Lyndon Johnson.
And then he has the speech where he said, I seen the mountaintop, and then after that it gets...
Yeah, a lot of people think he did kind of presage his own
But
death.
he also has a thing out, it was an article I read where he said he thinks he integrated his people into a burning house. Meaning he's led us to the seat at the table, but now I guess like the white man's like, y'all not getting what I promised y'all at first,
Sure. Well, that's typical.
Well, that is typical. There's a record of proof there that's what we've done.
Look what they did to the Indians. The red
well, yeah, but even when you go, all right, we're going to abolish slavery, but guess what? Jim Crow's right behind it. It's just another form of slavery,
right?
To this day,
it is. Yeah.
No, I think Malcolm X was right. You need political power. You need your own congressman. You need your own businesses. You need some, cash.
Yes.
Who's the woman that wrote the new Jim Crow?
I can't remember. I got the book at home. I can't remember.
Yeah, I got it too.
I read the book in class for once, and then she came to Vanderbilt and spoke. God damn it, I can't think of her name. Anyway, fuck, it changed my life. And this is where privilege. I mean, this is where the whole definition of privilege is basically blind spot.
Right.
You got a blind spot, and you don't know, and you don't know that you don't know.
Yeah.
So by reading that book, it was an oh shit moment.
Yeah.
It was like, oh.
Well,
God.
it's taken the other, or at least the way white folks look at the other.
Michelle Alexander.
Yeah.
Oh, that's her name?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's right. Yeah. But it's doing that, and not making them human beings.
Right.
Going like they're not me.
Right.
But you got to look at another person and say, that's me, man. I don't want that to happen to me. But why? I don't know why they don't see that. The white supremacists or whatever they are. Mm-hmm. They don't see it.
Well,
I hope that changes.
I hope it changes too. But the reason why I love Malcolm X so much, just from his ideology, he came from the teachings of, Elijah Muhammad, who said that the white race were all devils, and that sounded crazy at the time. And I was just like, that's why my mom was like, boy, you better not ever listen to that because it sounds crazy. And I think it was crazy. But then, when I actually did the studying and just listening to the teachings, he was just talking about, because black people was immature at that time. Their mindsets were not ready to decipher a good white person from, an evil white person. So for right now, you have a child and you take that child out to the field and there's snakes around, he can't decipher what's a good snake and what's a poisonous snake.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So right now, all snakes are bad until till this child can build himself up.
I never heard that.
Yeah, till this child can build himself up to decipher, what hand can I shake? You know what I'm saying? Of a white person, But the reason why I think Malcolm X was so important as well is because when when he did his pledge to Mecca and he came back, he realized that there was white Muslims over there. And in his book, a white guy who was a big fan of Malcolm X said that, "Hey Malcolm, would you shake a human being's hand? Would you shake a white man's hand?" And Malcolm turned around and said, "I would shake any human's hand." You know, so I think, you know, with his ideologies and his teaching, he went from, you know, going to prison, not really kind of believing in anything. Well, his dad was a Christian minister, but just kind of not believing in anything. Then here you go to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teachings. Then you go pledge your thing to Mecca, and you come back and you're just like, he's all about unity, you know, that peace, that kind of just that, I don't know, that core structure of just bringing everybody together, you know. That's what I like about it.
There's a Pauline scripture that says, we wrestle not with flesh and blood, but with principalities. And I think I know what he meant by that. But here's where it makes sense to me. No human being is my enemy. His or her ideologies that are fucking with me is my enemy. So as far as being able to shake a human being's hand, yes.
Yeah.
However,
right.
Sit down. We got to talk about this bullshit that you're imposing on my people or whatever.
Yeah, well, exactly, because of the ideological structures that are in place, the economic structures that are in place.
I know it's much more than just semantics, but
that's
I think
you mean, principalities.
I am. I'm saying like the principles by which you live, the lens through which you see the world. Yeah. And I know to ask myself and others to not say you are evil, but go ahead and say your ideas are evil. And just differentiate that. That's all I'm saying is between this principalities and flesh and blood. Like, you know, you're only, and I love this kind of understanding, because I was listening to a podcast this week and they were talking about this thing that happened in the 50s, and this guy, black guy, and this white woman were actually lovers having an affair. She was a married woman.
Right.
They got in a fight. Like, I think she came up pregnant, and he got. You know, they were panicked as to like what they're going to do, because obviously everybody's going to know now. And I think it was probably pre Roe v. Wade, and so it was like we're going to have to do a back alley abortion. It was just, but they did get in a fight, and he did strike her. He did. He was abusive to her in that moment. And so to solve this, she goes home to her husband with bruises and says, "I was raped." So a white woman says a black man raped you. That's over. Wow. It's over. And he got promised if he would make a confession that he'd get life instead of the electric chair. He confessed. They still gave him the electric chair.
Yeah, of course.
And in that same year, there was a white man who had raped his black servant, and I think it wasn't a slave, but it's like his housemaid or something, you know. But it's still a slave. But anyway, and he got 3 to 5 years.
Wow!
All in the same time frame.
Right.
So this is just one little incident of injustice,
right.
And this has been going on for 300 years in this country. So my point is that when we see people, whether they're looting or whether they're doing something to where that's not right.
Right.
Yeah.
I want, instead of just making a judgment of those people are bad,
right,
I want to ask what ideologies, what lens, what experience, what history did they have that would make them do this? You know what the root of that is just keep believing in people.
Right.
Keep believing that humans are good.
Yeah.
Now, we know that we're not all good. We're not perfect.
Get
we're
all
not
Anne Frank up there.
We're fallible as fuck. But let's give each other the benefit of the doubt, and instead of just assuming that those looters or these rioters are evil, let's ask them, why are they so mad?
Right.
Well,
right.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
And the history of the way, you know, like the Klan, white people and what have you, looked at black guys, men in particular.
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, that's like if a white woman's walking down the street, the black man better cross the street and walk and keep his head down, don't look at nobody. And that's why when they would do the lynchings, you know, they
bring the families out.
Yeah, and they would mutilate the black guy's genitals before they hung them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you,
white men have been jealous of black cock for a long time.
I guess. And this whole the whole idea of the one drop of blood and all that shit. I mean, come on, man.
It's weird. But with that whole lynching thing, like you said, the black male, that still goes on today, but it's just in a different structure. What I realized growing up too in a black family was, cause my mother and dad was never together, so I mainly was raised by my mother. But there was a time where my mother didn't have anybody. We got food stamps.
Yeah.
We got all these like government assistance, but once my mom got married to this guy for like 2 years, all that cut out. But you can barely break bread. If just one person's working one job, another person working one job, and the income is just enough to get by, but we still don't have no food. The lights is on, things like that. So some of those couples still need, the food stamps and things, still need the help. But the moment once my mom got a divorce, that black man was gone, and then here came all the government assistance. So once again, with the lynching, it's showing that the black woman does not need the black man, because look how weak he is. He's letting these white people hang him, with cutting off his genitals. Now it's in a way where, black women always, I don't need a man, because they can get assistance from this white government or this white supremacist system. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
All right. So what I hear you saying is that the government is helping push men out of the black household, saying we'll take care of you. You don't need him,
right?
Because if and when he moves back in, we're going to take away our assistance.
Going to take away his assistance.
Do you remember when they used to call government aid a relief? They would call it relief. They didn't call it assistance or whatever they call it now. My wife, who's a white woman, by the way, who's when she was younger, she screwed up and got married, got divorced, she had kids and all that stuff. She was on government assistance for years,
Right.
And and then when she got a job, she got off and everything's fine. Yeah. But what's the problem? And that's what taxes go there, So why people?
It's one of the great benefits of living in a modern society versus a third world country.
Things happen, man. So,
safety nets. I don't know.
It just strikes me as everybody thinks, black people only or Hispanics get assistance. Everybody gets it.
Everybody gets it.
Yeah, and probably more white people because there's more white people too.
So I want to go back to the part where you had family and friends that were kind of talking about you behind your back.
Okay.
They see that you're questioning. They see that you're studying outside the box. You're not supposed to be looking at Islam. You're not supposed to be listening to science.
Right.
And it scares them.
Right,
because this is it's almost like Gollum in the ring. My precious, Christianity.
You did a nice job.
Christianity is precious. It is what gives their life meaning, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And so when you come along, you start poking.
Yeah, man.
Even though in your mind, like, why aren't y'all poking?
Right. Yeah.
Because this is honest. I'm just being honest. Here's the other thing, is that when people, and this is again that place of, it's kind of privilege or whatever, but it's so, if and when somebody has the power, and you kind of start threatening that power, then they experience it as persecution.
Yep.
And so
Christians persecuted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So war on Christmas or whatever, but so just knowing that you're asking questions, you're expressing doubts.
Yeah.
You're. I mean, what was the word you said a second ago that you were? I mean, some of the names that they called you, or some of the things they said about you.
Some of the names. Oh, just I was losing my mind.
Yeah. So they can say, "Oh, he's crazy."
Yeah.
So that they can feel better about their own, because I mean, they have to figure out a way to make you the bad guy in this scenario. Otherwise, they're going to have to. They would have to say he's doing the right thing and follow suit.
Right.
And they can't do that.
Yeah. I was hearing all type of things about how maybe my mom, didn't raise me the right way. Those type of things.
Oh my gosh. So now they're starting to say he wasn't.
Yeah.
They have to come up with a reason why you're straying from the flock.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're mad
because it's different. It's different. I feel like 3 generations, everybody believe Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Then here comes this little black sheep. Like, oh, wait a minute, something's not right here.
Yeah.
So now you're the oddball out.
Yeah.
Isn't it sad, though? Because you're basically taking the moral high ground. You're saying, I don't think it's right for God to kill Job's kids just for a bet. I think that's immoral. You know?
Yeah.
How is it that you're the bad guy when you're pointing out immorality? Right. Yeah. Well, because the scriptures are sacred. And
of course.
And you know what? I realized that God has killed way more people than Satan has. It's all through the Bible, and I just want people to know that.
I also think that as a kid, if you're emerging into your puberty years and you're starting to like see the world as not an innocent place anymore because the childish naivete is gone. Yeah. The innocence is gone. This place is hard and mean. And bad shit happens, and then as you're feeling that and you're disappointed in that, I'm also speaking for myself here. I'm just saying that this is what happens is when we start seeing the hardness of the world, we're like, damn. I mean, this is why we have movies like Superman and stuff, and come in and sweep in and save the day. Is that when you start seeing tragedy happen, and you say, man, if I were God, because they'll say the devil. Yeah, the devil is the source of all evil. Well, why don't the all-powerful God kill that mofo?
Yeah.
You know what kills me, like you said, is when all these natural disasters are going on right now.
Oh, boy.
Everything. It's like, the devil is at work now. And I'm like...
Devil doesn't control the weather.
You know? God created this, you know? Or they say, God's angry with the world. And the hurricanes are only hitting the United States for right now, you know?
Yeah, right. Angry with the world because of the gays.
Yeah, because of the gay people.
Like, what? How did you make that leap?
I know this is basic and it's common sense, but yet just hearing somebody say it made it so simple. And they said, all right, so God's using hurricanes to get our attention. Why couldn't he just send a text? Like, why does it have to be so cryptic?
Yeah. Why you got to kill people?
Paint it across the sky. I'm pissed at you for your blank.
Whatever it is, yeah, exactly.
Or show up. Do something besides kill people, innocent people and children with a storm because I'm trying to get your attention.
Right.
Well, you suck at getting attention. And especially since he's attention deficit.
Yeah.
Not only is he insecure and need attention, he sucks at getting it.
Plus, also, Tom, you are, you're a black man. You grew up in the faith and all that stuff. And
it's hard to break out.
How in the I mean, there's not a lot of agnostic black. I mean, who do you talk to? There's not a lot of agnostic.
Man, that's the thing right now. Man, I kind of just talk to.
Well, you can talk to us if you want.
Yeah, I talk to you guys. I got a couple friends I met just through college. You know, guys I either play ball with or just met on campuses and stuff. And I talk to them, but I just express myself a lot through poetry now. Just spoken word.
Wait, you write poetry?
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna have to send me some so we.
Oh yeah, I got.
You got any memorized?
Yeah, I do have one.
You want to do one?
I actually have one that I wrote about Malcolm.
Oh yeah,
yeah, because I can do one.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now?
Command performance.
Right. Yes, right, man. We're very lucky.
All right. Let me get it together. Okay. Hey, young brother. I thought you said that you wanted to be like Malcolm. Didn't you write about him all through college? I thought you was a know-it-all. Didn't you hang up all his quotes on your wall? Didn't you depict him like you was your Jesus and you were the Apostle Paul? I thought you said that you wanted to be like Malcolm. You even thought about getting an X tatted, but your actions show that you're nothing but a savage. I thought you wanted to be like Malcolm. Your old uncivilized ass. Malcolm ate 1 meal a day. You just consumed trash. You said that the black man was God, but by your actions you seem like a fraud, another false prophet. You tried to electrify your people by missing your own socket. You preached about black economics, but you're still a slave to them white folks in your pocket. You can't even control your emotions. You're up and down like hydraulics. I thought you wanted to be like Malcolm. And I know you seem a little phony when you're out drinking with your white homies because they just killed another nigga and they caught it on camera. And what you gonna do, just rant and share a post just so your homeboys can comment and be like, damn, Lil Tom Tom woke. I thought you wanted to be like Malcolm. You said that Malcolm was your hero, but be real, young brother, you're just another miseducated Negro. That's it.
Whoa.
Oh, jeez.
Man, I'm telling you.
And
that's good.
Thank you.
That's really good.
I wrote that because I'm a big fan of Malcolm, but like, man, these past 2-3 years, man, like you saying how when you realize from a kid that life is hard, and you gravitate to just certain things that you think that's gonna kind of either stimulate you or just kind of therapeutic. So you learn to just different outsources that's not really good for you. So I had this image of who I wanted to be, but I was living this like double life.
So it's about your own hypocrisy.
Yeah, definitely, because.
Well, that line about, just drinking with your own homies, your white homies. Yeah. And it's like, then they say whatever they say. And it must make you feel like, like a fraud. What am I doing? What am I doing?
I'm not staying true to we're not nothing wrong with drinking, white people. But, it's like, how can you go out drinking with your white people, but yet, you see the things that's going on, police brutality. How can it's for me? It's just how can I be in this bar with a group of white people when my people out here,
getting shot?
Getting shot. Like I'm wasting time in this bar with the so-called race who my people so called against, but it's just the kind of like pain sometimes I deal with.
That's a lot of tension. Because the voice in your head is like you're a sellout. Yeah. And yet you want to be a bridge builder. And yet how much are these people right here in the bar with me speaking out against what just happened to...
And what is, what the hell, blah, blah, blah. So you speak out. So what? Like,
it feels, it feels impotent.
Yeah, like hopes and prayer. I'll send my prayers to the hurricane victims. That's not, how's that helping?
Right.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I get that. I get that. Yeah. You got to do poetry slams, man.
Oh, yeah, that's what I've been doing lately. I did that one about 2 weeks ago. And everybody loved it, and then I got some more coming up. I'm putting together a spoken word album, so I have a couple tracks to sing y'all.
I'll tell you, if you ever watch a poetry slam like Mos Def or any of that stuff that used to be on HBO,
that's what I love.
It'll bring tears to your eyes. It will make you weep when you watch these young black men and women go up there and speak their piece, and it is like, the anger and the sadness and it just all comes out. It's amazing. It's amazing.
I love it, man.
It's beautiful. Got to come out, and it's expressed through art, and that's another thing.
To be the thing.
And you talk about that all the time, Cass.
Yeah, well, it's got to come out. It's got to come out. Let it come out. And honestly, like you said the other day when you said you're pushing against the wall, you bear your shoulder into the wall, and you push your whole life, and you look down and you've gone 2 inches. Do it anyway.
Do it anyway.
You think this poem is impotent? You think everything you're doing is not going to change anything? Do it anyway.
Yeah.
Because you can talk yourself out of doing nothing. Like at least it's something.
At least it's something, and it's a little bit, and there'll be more coming, and they'll be pushing too, and it'll change. It's just going to take a while.
I had no idea when we started this show. The amount of emails that I would get on a daily basis. I got one last night from a woman in Canada, and she said, "You and Bob, your show has been my life raft." And and people you never know. You just never know, and you can't really care, and you can't measure your own validation or identity or.
But you sure feel the need out there. You can see something has to happen here. Something's got to get done, and we're only a couple of people. Maybe we can do something.
Right.
So.
It is the tension, man, of being human and having a heart. Because you look at shit and you're like, something's got to change now.
So you start the podcast.
And then you feel like, I wrote a poem. and you feel small. But I'm just saying, do it anyway. What was the public forum that you were doing this poetry?
Where do you do it?
It was at a club/bar kind of thing. It was called Nash Vegas.
Nash Vegas.
Yeah, Nash Vegas.
I heard of that. I haven't been there.
Out there like by Hermitage.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
It was out there.
Boy, I'd love to see it.
So it's kind of an open mic thing? Or?
Yeah, it was kind of an open mic thing.
You signed up for it?
Yeah, that's what I said. I signed up for it. Yeah.
When are you going to do again? Maybe I'll come out and watch.
I know there's one this Tuesday that I'll be going to.
Okay. Same place?
Same place, yeah.
Nash Vegas.
Yep.
Wow.
Doors open up at 8 o'clock.
So it's not only you, though, but it's like
it's different different artists. They sing, they rap. Just different art forms,
Yeah, so you don't drop a beat, as they say.
Nah,
like, look at me, I'm a clueless white man, and I'm saying drop a beat.
Yeah, I like more of like when I do spoken word, I like the jazz type feel.
Yeah,
right. Kind of blues.
Where the cadence is in your speech.
You don't,
right.
Yeah, you don't need the
you don't need the 808s and all that.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Wow.
So, just as a reminder, Tuesday night we have a listener of the show that's taking us out for drinks.
Oh, that's right. Well, one of these days, I want to come. I want to come and see you.
It's cool. Like I said, I got tracks to send you so you can just hear.
Okay.
Honestly, send them to me and I can put it at the end of this.
Okay.
And plus, we just did one in the middle.
Yeah,
really cool.
If you can, put that Malcolm poem on so people can read it. Yeah, it's good. That's a good poem.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. It means a lot.
I'm just pushing facts, man.
So I guess where I want to go is do you wrestle internally with feeling? I mean, we've just talked about some of the tensions you feel. Mm-hmm. I don't know. How do you, at the end of the day, like yourself?
Damn, that's a good question. Right now, man, I'm trying to find which and every way I can to just like myself. I'm struggling with confidence. I'm struggling with
really.
Yeah,
you seem like a very confident guy to me.
I beat myself up a lot.
We all have
even last week when I got the scheduling wrong, I was like, "Fuck you, dumbass!" You know.
Oh, I see.
So we were scheduled for last week, and it was a misunderstanding. You thought I meant this Saturday.
This Saturday, yeah. But
that's human.
Yeah, I know it's human, but like when I was growing up Christian, it was all just like, I'll just let it go and, let God do his thing, or this is supposed to happen because this is in God's will. Now it's like,
you're responsible.
Shit, I done fucked up somewhere. I did something wrong, and I'm looking at myself like, you stupid.
We beat ourselves up.
Yeah. So I'm working on trying to like myself. I'm at a point where I just...
Well, you're a likable guy. What's not to love? Right.
Well, it just is what it is. I mean, the thing about saying, and I'm not criticizing you, Bob, for saying this, but the thing about trying to say to you, "Oh, you're a likable guy," we're still using judgmental terms.
Right.
Well, yeah.
And the point is that there is no judgment for what shows up. I didn't ask to be born. I didn't ask for this DNA. I didn't ask for this mind, this hair, this eye color. I didn't ask for this sense of humor. I didn't ask for nothing.
Right.
I'm just showing up the best I fucking can. I didn't. What Bill Burr said on that thing was, he was like, what kind of balls does God have to create this fuck up and then judge me for being fucked up? He said you made. You gave me free will. You made hookers. You made me bad at math. How was this not going to go off the rails?
That's right.
So there's this freedom and this slack that we've got to give ourselves.
Who said this again?
Bill Burr.
Bill Burr. He's a comedian. He's great. He's on YouTube.
I am what I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is strangely
that's what I say in the Bible.
It's in the Bible as one of the names of God. I am that I am. Yeah. And it just is, and to remove judgment is really, it's a tough thing.
Yeah.
And you went down a path a second ago that was a little bit ironic for me, because when you were talking about being hard on yourself, and then you kind of went down and you said, look, when I was a Christian, and I thought you were going to say the standard of perfection was high, and you got to be perfect. You got images everything to Christians, and but you went a different direction. You said there was a mindset of God's going to take care of this.
Fuck it, whatever.
And so there was almost a room for apathy there because God was in control.
Mm-hmm.
And this is true. I think this is true of people that cross over from religion to non. Is you go from being able to cast your sins on the scapegoat.
Mm-hmm.
Like you confess it, God, forgive me. Oh,
yep.
I'm forgiven, and I move on.
Yeah.
We don't have that in atheism, and so we're responsible.
Right.
And then, but what you can do, and I think we all do, and this is what we're talking about with the inner bully in our head, is that we cross over into maybe hyper accountability. Like, well, I should have. And I don't have it on this wall, but I know there was a plaque on somebody's wall that said, "Today I will not should on myself." And I'm serious. The word should.
That's powerful.
Is just so destructive.
It is. Man, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Wow.
All right. Well, I guess, does your mom know that you're agnostic?
She knows, but I think she's like kind of denying.
In denial,
you know. And it's nothing against her. She's a wonderful person. My mother is a great person. But you know, she calls me, "Hey, baby, did you go to church today? Did you read your Bible today?" and things like that. And I know she sees what I post on my.
What do you say?
Because actually, I do still read my Bible. Just because I got certain classes on it right now. I got.
Oh, okay. Sure. So you are reading.
Oh, so you can say
yeah.
All right,
yeah, I do. And actually, for the community and just for just a lesson, sometimes I still go to churches. Actually, sometimes I just find different churches to go. Or sometimes I go to the mosque. But I tell her, yeah, sometimes. But if I didn't go, Mama, I didn't go. You know, I'm kind of open with her. But I think she's still pushing, like, I'm that prodigal son. My baby's gonna turn around one day. He's gonna be redeemed again. You know, my grandma the same way too. But it ain't gonna change.
That's almost setting you up to fail because you know you're never going back.
I ain't gonna never go back.
And so you know that they're always going to be disappointed in you.
Yeah, I'm the family's fuck up. You know,
so you wear it proud.
I wear it proud. Yeah. Like a year ago, it took me a while to get this confidence, man. I was sad. As shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, the people I grew up with, they judging me and stuff like that. I didn't know how nobody was gonna take it. Especially when I was like posting pictures that I was at the mosque and things like that, and people were criticizing me about that. But one person who did like actually step up and just kind of show me unconditional love that I never thought I would get was my dad.
Wow,
really?
Yeah,
Isn't
my
that
dad?
something?
Me and him, we kind of. Like growing up, we just didn't see eye to eye, I guess. Now that I'm knowing him, getting to know him,
right.
It's because we're so much alike that I think that's why we conflicted so much when I was growing up. But when I used to go over his house, he used to make me watch videos on like Emmett Till.
Oh yeah.
He was a big fan of Muhammad Ali, so he made me read this book called $40 Million Slave. So the black consciousness was there from him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So he's a Christian too, but he's kind of more of a liberal type of guy.
Yeah.
So I guess I always had that questioning and just that strive for just information because I got it from him.
Yeah. So it turns out it was in your DNA.
Yeah.
Some people or some guys, just aren't very good with kids. They don't know how to deal with. I'm really serious. They don't know how to deal with kids, And then when they grow up, it's like, oh man, I can talk to you now.
Yeah. Me and him like great friends. If we're on the phone now, we talk for like 2 hours.
Wow. How old were you when he separated from your mom?
They was never together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they was just never together. But he did his part though. He did his part as a somebody who.
So in and out of your life, throughout your life.
Yeah, just throughout my life, he was just in and out. That whole situation. I guess you can say baby mama stuff.
Yeah.
Baby mama, baby dad type deal. The kid may go here for a week or so, or just a weekend, and then. Cause I was mainly just living with my mom, and I probably see my dad probably twice a month.
Yeah,
so it would be hard for him to try to teach me these manly things that he wanted me to learn. Then you go back to your mom, and she teaching you like a whole nother different way, and that's who you mainly with. So I think just me kind of coming up under my mom, but it would battle with his thought process or his ideologies and things like that.
Yeah.
So, but luckily now. Me and him, we have great conversation, and that keeps me like, all right, everything's all right. I'm okay. I'm not that crazy. You know what I'm saying? If my dad is accepting me for who I am, then I'm all right.
God damn, that's good.
That's
amazing. And what city?
You're a very strong guy.
I'm
really serious. You have some internal thing that. That you'll be all right. Yeah, that's what I think.
What city is your dad in?
Memphis. All my family.
So sometimes you meet up face to face, but a lot of times it's on the phone.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And you're from Memphis.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, from the south side of Memphis.
How about it? Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So you're. What do you plan to do with your journalism degree?
Write books.
Okay.
Write books and then turn them into like short films and then hopefully plays.
Dude.
And,
Bob's a short film guy.
I got one for you. I can see that too.
Oh yeah.
I got one for you. It's a book probably like 8 chapters long, but I have certain parts that that I want to do as a film and add spoken word to, like.
It's funny. I've always wanted to do something with spoken word.
Yeah.
I don't know what, but because there's so much power.
It sounds like a porch talk that we're going to have later.
There's a lot of power there, man.
I got the whole concept how I want to do it.
Well, we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, that's why I want to do that, and also with my podcasting.
You want to do a podcast?
Yeah, I want to do podcasts. That's mainly what I want to do, man. I want to just.
You got something to say.
I was gonna say I got so much to say, but my favorite rapper said this one time too. He's not trying to just tell his story. I believe everybody else has a story too. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I just want to tell like the people's story. I just want to share people's story.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you have something to say, but you're also wanting to propel and create a platform where others people's voices can be heard.
Yeah, because I come from a place. A lot of people's voices not heard.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people whose voices not heard.
And there's nothing more frustrating than ignorance. Meaning if somebody, you say something and they love it, feels good. You say something and they hate it, less good but still good. You say something and nobody hears it and nobody gives a rat's ass, that hurts.
Yeah.
That is the most painful thing.
Yeah.
Is being completely ignored. And so helping people get their voice and giving yourself one is powerful.
My biggest fear is just being judged by my own thoughts. And that seemed like that had happened before, so I want to create a platform for people like you guys are that they get something where people can voice their opinion and just say, look, this is what I'm feeling, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm myself though. I'm not crazy. I'm not deranged. I ain't on drugs. This is just who I am.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people out there like that. So I just want to,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's great.
So I'm going to give you some unsolicited advice.
He does this to me all the time.
I do it all the time. But this is what works for me in these inner voices and the inner conflict and the bully inside.
Yeah,
it's kind of a cognitive therapy thing. But when you have a thought that like you're feeling worthless, I'm worthless. Or the voice is saying, you're worthless. Right. Give it up. Right. You're a fuck up. Mm-hmm. You got nothing to offer. Mm-hmm. This is the fraud syndrome that we talked about last couple weeks ago. Ask yourself, is that true? Am I worthless? Well, there's some truth to that, but I'm not entirely worthless. Mm-hmm. And what is true about my worth? And where do I place my worth? Where do I find my worth? Or just get in, and instead of trying to say, I will not think of pink elephants. I will not think of pink elephants. I will not think that I'm worthless. It's like, okay, come on in. Let's talk. Why do you think I'm worthless? You talk to yourself.
Okay.
Is it true that I'm worthless? Well, I think there's people that value me, and you can begin to list the people in your life that would be heart bad if you didn't exist. Like you stopped existing, a lot of people would collapse.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. I don't want to be in a world without Thomas.
Right.
This sucks. And they're in a world of pain. Guess what? That means you're valuable. That means you're worth something to somebody. Whatever you have to have that conversation. But instead of like fighting off, I won't think that thought. Invite that thought in and say, all right, let's talk about that. You think I'm worthless?
Wow.
I think I might have some worth. And instead of being afraid of your own thoughts, even if it's fear, fear is the amygdala. It's the fight or flight. It's actually okay. It's not a bad thing. Even your ego is not a bad thing. Mm-hmm. Your ego and your fear exist to help propel you into further existence. It's evolution.
Right.
So you can say to your fear, you know what, you're telling me to not do this thing, but I really want to do it. I appreciate your concern. Let's talk about what could go wrong. What are you afraid of? Well, if you ride on the back of that truck while it's going 60 miles an hour, you could hurt yourself. I think you got a point, fear. Thank you for saving me. Or if the fear is saying, you got no business getting up on a live mic on a rap poetry night or whatever. Yeah. You need to sit down. Well, fear, thank you. I know that the risks are I could fuck up, I could flop, they could hate my poetry, I could look stupid, I could have my fly open, I could have a booger hanging out of my nose. These are a lot of things that you're concerned about, and I think you're making a valid point. However, I'm going to do it anyway. And you're welcome to come up on stage with me. You're probably going to create sweat in my armpits and on the palms of my hands, and you're going to dry up my salivation. I know that you're here to help me, but let's go up on that stage and kick life in the dick.
That is the most powerful thing I've ever heard in my life.
You can use that.
That is great. I needed to hear that.
So what do you do for fun? I know. So Blake was a guest on the show several months ago.
Yeah.
He was a friend of my kids that work at the Parthenon. He ended up being a really philosophical, cool guy. We wanted to have him on the show.
Yep.
Turns out, the other night, or a couple of weeks ago, all right, I used to go, when I worked on the square, I used to go to a pub called Wall Street Pub.
Oh, yeah.
Right next door to where my office was where I was employed.
I remember.
Every Tuesday after work and every Friday morning for breakfast, because this bar is crazy.
Yep.
This bar is open at 6 a.m. and closes at 3 a.m.
Yep.
I mean, it's like it's closed for 3 hours.
3 hours. I love that boy.
Yeah.
So I used to go a lot. Well, and when I first moved here, I actually sang at that bar. I just remembered that. But anyways, as a songwriter. But my kids started going there. And Bethany, or you texted me and said, I met your daughter.
Yeah.
And it was just, and then Blake is a friend of yours, and you and Blake have connected.
Yep.
So it's kind of funny how, I mean, we used to call this a God thing, right?
You're right. Yeah.
It was a divine point.
Yeah. It's a divine intervention. Yeah.
It's proximity, man.
Yeah, now it's just proximity and circles of friends and stuff.
Yeah.
But I know you go to the pub for fun sometimes. What else? No, you're a basketball player.
Yep.
Are you playing at Belmont? Just intramurals or?
No, I was going to play, then I ended up messing up my ankle pretty bad.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, messing up my ankle pretty bad.
Do they call that walk on? Or is that just a professional thing? I mean, were you going to try to walk on the team?
Yeah, going to try to walk on. Well, I had already made the team. They was about to actually offer me a scholarship. But I ended up messing my ankle.
Can you try again? Or?
I could, but I don't even have the love for it no more. Like,
you losing interest?
Yeah, I love to watch it like for what it is.
Maybe play a little bit.
Yeah, my brother plays ball overseas and things like that.
Wow.
So it's basketball has been in my family my whole life. Basketball was a big part.
You point guard?
Yeah, point guard.
Yeah.
Like I said, I played at Welch. That's how I got to school, luckily. And I was gonna walk on at Belmont and ended up hurting my ankle pretty bad in practice.
Do you fill out a March Madness bracket?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes.
I do for fun. I mean, like, because I don't keep track of everybody.
You know, it pisses me off because you're never going to get it right. It's never going to get it right.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? And it pisses me off when I'm not right.
Well, okay, we got to talk about that. You got a standard of perfection that's going to fuck you up if you don't loosen up on that.
Yeah, I know, man. And that's what I'm big on, too, is just try not to be perfect. I'm so afraid of just messing up, you know. And when I mess up, it's just like...
Well, do you think that has something to do with the black culture as well? Because, sometimes, because I remember, well, I don't remember. I remember watching television or some movie or something where, where the black mama says to the kid, you got to be better than, you got to represent. You got to represent. You got to be much better. You got to be perfect. You got to be you got to be dressed right. You got to have your hair, and it's like, wow, man, that's a lot of shit.
Okay.
See, that's a perfect example of who my dad was.
Oh,
my dad was like, I wanted earrings when I was 13, 14. He was like, nah, ain't no black young man gonna be wearing no earring. I was like, everybody in middle school got earrings. What you talking about? Or he would just, make me dress a certain way. At that time, everybody was wearing the baggy clothes. I wanted baggy clothes, but my dad was having me wearing fitted clothes. Like when I was going, my mom would let me wear the, the baggy clothes, stuff like that. But my dad wanted me to talk a certain way. He didn't want me using slang. He wanted me to be this solid dude, and I just like, this not me, know. But I don't know where it actually stems from. I do think it stems from one thing, is that everybody had this image of me as a basketball player. Everybody, because my big brother's a basketball player, so they thought that was just all I was. They kind of just put me in the box, But even growing up, I was always a guy. Like I said, I would read a bunch of books. I worked I write poetry. I never told nobody. I was working at a bookstore for part time, just to get the discount. I had a whole nother side to me. Nobody wanted to get to know.
Yeah.
And then so when I got kicked out of school and lost my basketball scholarships, going to Belmont. Then the injury happened, and then it was just like, all right, Thomas, what are you gonna do?
Right.
I was like, well, let me get serious about journalism. Let me get serious about writing. Let me get serious about just consuming information. Then that's when the whole 360 just happened. It's like, who is this whole new Thomas? He's doing poetry now. He's on podcasts. He's blogging and stuff now. And it's like, he's listening to Farrakhan. Who is this guy? It's like a whole nother different Thomas from who we thought he was going to be.
It's you, man. It's me.
It's
you.
And
it's the real you.
And it's like the caterpillar going to his cocoon and he breaking out. But it's like they don't want me to break out. It's just like they want me to be confined to a box. So when I do mess up, it's like, damn, now I kind of proved them wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah.
I proved these naysayers wrong about myself. And then I get down like, well, maybe they are right. It's that
tension. Yeah.
Yeah.
The voice in your head.
Voice in your head, like you are probably worth it. Woo. So I think that's where it kind of stems.
How old are you?
24.
So this is the age where a lot of people, it's probably almost age appropriate, universal.
Yeah.
I'm here. Fucking see me.
Yeah.
There is more to me than meets the eye.
Yeah.
And I want I want somebody to see me and to acknowledge me and to know me for what I am and not just a basketball player.
Right.
You've totally profiled me or pigeonholed me into one identity. I'm more than that.
Yeah. It's that flickering of the frontal lobe.
It is.
It's there, man.
Yeah.
It's the myelin sheath, too, because you're actually going from just thinking myopically, like you just, not any, to where it's like, wait a second, who am I and who do I want to be? What do I want to do with my life?
Right. And you get to do it yourself. Not other people telling you what you are. You get to do it.
Yeah, I get to do this.
And that's the way it should be.
And it was cool to kind of move up here. And once I bust my ass, by getting kicked out of school. All right, cool. That's all right.
That happens.
I dusted my shoulder back off, and I had to go back to Memphis for a little bit. But then I came back up here, and now I'm living in Murfreesboro, and I'm proud of myself, but I'm just like, I'm still nowhere where I want to be at.
Not yet.
It's coming. And that bothers me so much.
Well, it's a rite of passage, and it's a season, almost like puberty. So when puberty's happening, the voice is inflated, and then your knees are sore, or if you're a woman, you're getting your period.
Right.
This is some awkward shit.
Right.
It ain't pretty.
Yeah.
And you're insecure as fuck. While you're going through puberty,
oh, yeah.
It's one of the most insecure stages of human development. Well, this mid-20 thing, where you're saying, here I am.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want to show up on the world stage.
Yeah.
And be me, and it ain't pretty. It ain't smooth. It's awkward, and you try and you fail.
But I checked with your doctor. You have 70 more years to live. So you're going to be all right.
Exactly.
There's a lot of growth.
You're going to get through this. And just like you said early on in the show, it's not about arriving. You're on the journey.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's a life's work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Figuring out who you are and how you want to show up.
How true.
I'm 51 and I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
It's true.
All right. So you're in school, so you're reading what you're told to read. I won't go there. But what's a movie or TV show that you've seen recently that you really liked?
That I really like. Recently, the last movie I watched was Menace to Society, and that movie always touches me.
Menace to Society.
Yes, sir.
I don't know that one.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You don't?
No.
For real? Oh, well, it's about these guys. I want to say it's either in South Central or Compton.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of just how you're growing up in the hood in Compton and stuff like that. But the moral of the story is the good guy who tried to basically tell everybody else in the neighborhoods what to do and things like that, trying to get them on the right pathway. He ended up dying at the end of the part. I mean, at the end of the movie. So.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. So that one, and before I watched that. Last Thursday, I watched Fruitvale Station, and that's always Fruitvale Station, about the story of Oscar Grant.
Yeah, I remember hearing. I didn't see that one though.
Yeah,
cool. It's supposed to be really good.
Who's Oscar Grant?
Oscar Grant was a guy. He was probably out of jail for about a year. Had a daughter. It's funny, he was about to propose to his fiance. It was out in either San Francisco or San Diego. But it was on New Year's Eve 2008, becoming 2009, and his mother told him to take the Fruitvale Station train. So they was out having a good time. They get on this train. There's a guy who Oscar had like some beef with in the jail. So he was on the train. So they got into a fight or whatever. Of course, the train stops. The police comes or whatever. And of course, the guy that Oscar is fighting with is white. They let the white people go. They have all the black guys kind of hemmed up and cuffs and things like that. And there's a live video out on YouTube. You can literally just type in Oscar Grant is a woman who's got a camera phone, and you can see Oscar Grant just saying, "Hey, everybody stay cool, everybody stay calm, whoop-de-woo." And the cop says, "Shut up, nigga." He called him the N-word, and Oscar Grant was like, "Don't call me that no more." He says, "You shut up, nigga. What you gonna do?" And ended up, they put him on the ground, and then the police say he thought he reached for his taser gun, but he reached for a gun. Ended up piercing Oscar Grant in the back. He died on the way to the hospital. But it's a movie, and
it's supposed to be great. And I don't know who's the actor that plays Oscar Grant.
What's his name? He played in the Creed movie.
Yeah,
what's his name?
I can't recall his name, but it's supposed to be a brilliant performance.
It is, and it makes.
I think it was up for an Academy Award.
It makes me so upset because before he goes out, his daughter said, "Dad, I hear gunshots. I don't want you to go out." But he's like, "No, that's just fireworks." So it's kind of sad. But yeah, them last two movies I just watched.
Those are good ones.
Yeah,
those are good ones. Yeah,
and I'm also just in between like a bunch of different books.
Yeah. So you got like a bunch of them just like out and open.
I got like 5 or 6, but my fiance is like very tough on me about this because I have like 6 books with like pens just in them.
Yeah.
Like that's where I left off it. Yeah. And she's like, "You don't never finish, you just book hop." And I was like, well, that's kind of a good thing because Basquiat did it. Da Vinci did it. They had where they kind of had like ADHD where they just kind of hop from different things.
Yeah, no, I think it's good to hop around. Like you have a book over here where you sit sometimes, and over there, and by the bed, and over there.
Because I want to know so much.
What the hell?
I want to know so much stuff. I got my Black History stuff over here. I got my science stuff right here. I got my political stuff right here. It's all just different stuff.
Excellent.
So I looked up that actor. It's Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike Jordan. Yes,
Michael
that's
B.
right.
Jordan.
And you know why he has a B as a middle initial? Because he could be mistaken for the basketball player.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Anyway, you'd recognize him. I recognize his face. He's in a lot of things.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And that's back in 2013, that movie.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yep.
So Menace to Society and Fruitvale Station, those are on my checklist.
Yeah, I think you're going to like Menace to Society. I think it kind of just give you that I say it's like an introduction to not black culture, but a black there's situations every day in a low poverty neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? It's just
a day in the life of.
A day in the life of a low poverty neighborhood.
Well, one of the things that the world needs is empathy, and another way of saying that is walk a mile in someone else's shoes.
Yeah.
So if you can get out of your culture for a second and try to put yourself in someone else's, it's going to make you a kinder, more compassionate person, and less judgment.
Yeah, and the safest way for white folks to do that is go to a movie or watch it on TV.
Isn't that convenient?
Yeah, exactly.
So
and
true.
So that's how important changing culture is, using the arts.
Yeah.
I mean, what else you gonna do?
One last question: you got any pets?
Yeah, I do.
What you got?
I got a pit bull. Her name is Maya.
How did I know? That's so stereotypical of me.
Pit bull. Wow.
So
those are sweet dogs.
What are some of the tattoos mean? Do you have any?
Yeah, I got this one is my favorite. Is that Simba? That's my favorite movie, Lion King.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Simba?
Yeah, Simba. And then I got my zip code that I was raised
Sometimes
in.
you forget. Yeah.
It was 38109. And then...
So in the poem you mentioned getting a tattoo of an ex. Do you have one?
No, I don't.
It was just a thought.
It's literally a thought, and I'm still thinking about it. It's probably going to...
But what you're telling yourself?
What?
I'm not worthy.
Yeah.
I know that, boy.
But I got the Sphinx right there. The 7 came from when I was studying the 5% of Islam, which tell black man is God, white man is the devil. But they had the number 7, which represents perfection.
Right.
In the Bible, talk about like 7 seals, you got 7 chakras.
Yeah, numerology.
Yeah, and so they got the black man, the black woman, and the black child. That was actually they teach that's the unity, the Trinity. I mean, of the black
Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Yep.
And so their bodies make up the shape of the number 7.
Number 7, yeah.
But the guy's carrying something.
It's the sun, because he's the man represents the sun, the black woman represents the moon, and the black child represents the stars for the universe. Kind of.
Okay.
But he's carrying. What's he carrying?
Oh, that's just the number 7. Like he's just,
but it's a big old log, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's like
behind him.
Yeah, it's like kind of like behind.
Oh, it's just behind him.
Yeah.
Okay. It looked like, but it almost like he was shouldering.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah,
like there's a burden though. I don't know. I'm just maybe reading into it.
I was going to say, maybe now you're going to have me looking at it.
I mean, why else would his arm be out? I mean, because he's...
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm looking into it now.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you guys.
It's been educational.
You were great. Really.
Thank you for having me.
Love it.
I had fun, man.
Thomas Amun?
Yeah.
Amun?
Yeah.
Amun.
Yeah.
Good guy.
Yeah. Great guy. Really, really enjoyed talking to him. It's funny. We always say that.
It's always true. I wouldn't say it if it didn't.
Yeah.
I love the parade of people that just keep coming.
But when you sit down for an hour or so with somebody, you
feel something.
Yeah, you feel like they're you.
Yeah, the connection.
They feel like, I get you. I see where you're coming from. I understand. I mean, I don't have that experience, but I certainly have the...
To the extent in which I'm able, I understand.
Yeah.
And it's good for me to understand.
Yeah. And, the similarities are what's more prominent than the differences, I think.
And this is, obviously, if somebody's going to be a bigot, if somebody's going to be prejudiced, they've already pigeonholed a whole race of people or a whole demographic of people as a broad brush certain way until you get to fucking know one.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, this is our black friend. I'm not saying that. But it is a way for everybody to stretch themselves and say, the world doesn't revolve around me, or my ways are not the only ways, and other people are experiencing life differently than me. All right, so I got it. This whole thing, I can't get enough of it. But this whole thing of everybody's fighting their own battles. And so, for example, there's a young man who, at about 10 years old, his mom brought him to me and said, I can't handle him. I don't know what to do with him.
Right,
he moved in with us back in Oklahoma. I was a youth pastor. He's had a really hard life. And he's gotten into a lot of trouble. Well, now, like just this week, he turned 35. And about a month ago, he called and he said, can I come home? Because he calls Mindy and I mom and dad. And,
wow.
He has trouble going to bed at night. And so, like, he gets off work, he hates sleep. Doesn't want to sleep. It's one of the reasons why he got into drugs, is because you don't have to sleep when you're high.
Is he fearful of something, or?
Well, this is the thing, and this is a great question, Bob.
No,
thank you for asking. And this is my point with why we what we're talking about, like the benefit of getting inside someone else's story, is asking the questions, why? Why do you hate sleep? Well, it turns out, and I'll go ahead and record this, and I'll ask him later if he's okay with sharing it. But when he was 8 years old, his dad had left, and his brother went with him. And so it's just he and his mom. And he's scared, like people are leaving. People are disappearing. And so he's worried, are you leaving too? Like he doesn't know what's going on, and he's scared. So at night, he would want to sleep with his mom. He wanted to go and crawl in bed with her for the security of, you're not leaving me. I'm not going to wake up and you're gone too.
Right.
Well, his grandfather, her dad, didn't want him sleeping with her. And so he would come over and he would sit in his bedroom until he went to sleep. So and turns out his grandfather didn't want Matt sleeping with her because he was sleeping with her. Incest. He didn't know this at 8 years old. He found out when he was a senior in high school.
Wow.
But his conditioning there was, I want to be with my mommy.
Yeah.
And this monster is sitting here in the room waiting for me to go to sleep, which makes it hard to go to sleep when somebody's watching you anyway.
Yeah. And then Grandpa would go and
yeah.
visit.
So guess what? At age 35, he's still probably a part of him saying, you won't tell me that I have to go to sleep. I'm going to stay up. It's a big fuck you to that tyrant sitting in his room, controlling and ruining his life. So my point is that when you drill down, because I can say, you're 35, you're irresponsible, you got to go to work the next day, go to fucking bed. Mm-hmm. You know, because I've got the simple answer to why you're a fuck up. Just go to sleep.
Yeah, right.
Well, guess what, Mr. fucking know-it-all judger? It's not that easy. It's complicated. Mm-hmm. And I remember, I've told this story on the show before, but one time Wendy and I were at a concert, and we were wanting to get some good seats, and there was this guy with his leg literally laying across two empty seats that we kind of wanted, and I was, like,
excuse me,
what a dick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, these are stadium seats, and they're really close together, and we didn't say anything to him, but in my mind I thought, what a dick. Mm-hmm. I found out later, we got up to leave, he had a full cast under his jeans, and he couldn't extend his leg, and the seats were too close, and that's the only way he could sit. So my point is that just the way that we become judges of each other is that we think we have the whole story, and we never do.
Right.
This is agnosticism. This is saying, I don't know enough to become the judge of this other person. Mm-hmm. This is why we have testimonies and juries and courts and stuff, is we're trying to get to the truth. Mm-hmm. And we get there by asking what you asked a second ago. You asked a question. What we're doing by having Thomas come in here and share his story is we're trying to get inside the shoes of another person's life, and the world would be a better place. We'd be more empathic. We'd be more compassionate because everybody's fighting a battle, and it's hard.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can't just listen to this show either.
No.
I mean, if you just listen to the show and go, well, I got my fill of being a good person, or whatever you think, I don't know. You really got to go out and press the flesh, go out and meet people and talk to people and be empathetic toward people.
And coming from an introvert,
yeah, I mean,
you're actually, that's hard.
That's hard work for me.
Yeah. And yet we got to do it. We got to get out of our comfort zone and expose ourselves to other cultures, mm-hmm. to round ourselves, to stretch ourselves. Otherwise, this is the petri dish of bigotry.
Yeah,
is thinking that your world, your perspective, your experience is the end all be all, and it's just,
or some master narrative that you use, like a Christian narrative or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. This is the right way to God, and you don't know either. Just some humility, people.
Please. So that's why it's called Everyone's Agnostic, huh? Because we really don't know.
Well, I mean, we just need to presume less and give people the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
So,
well, he was a great guy, and I look forward to. Well, I guess you're going to put some of the stuff on. You'll put the
whatever he can send as far as his poetry. But I felt honored to have that one.
Yeah, me too.
In the middle of the show. I mean,
excellent.
Who knew? Right? We didn't hear that. We didn't see that coming.
I know.
And this is his point. Is like, don't pigeonhole me as a black man basketball player. I'm more than that.
Right. Exactly.
And I'm proud of him for putting himself out there.
Me too.
Because the temptation is to just shrink back into your turtle shell, mind your own business or whatever. And it's like, no, wait, I have a need to express myself. Mm-hmm. And some of you are going to like it and some of you are not, and that's on you. That is.
Yeah.
It's how you react to me and my art and my expression and my persona. Mm-hmm. You're going to be the judge. That's you. But I'm going to be me. And I got to be me.
Really? Let's sing. Kumbaya.
Well, man, thanks for coming.
Yeah, always good seeing you again, and always good talking to these great people you find. I'm impressed. Thank you.
Well, and what we've said before is like we would not be having this talk if it weren't for the tapes rolling and the microphones are on. Mm-hmm. So we're putting this out and people are enjoying it, but it's forcing us to have a better life. I love this show. This show saved my life, and I get emails every day where people are kind of saying similar things. But I think the ultimate person saved by this show is me, because there's hardly anything else in my life that I'm doing that is like true to me. And this is a true expression of my passions, my desires, my skill sets, and my wheelhouse and all that.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy that I'm tagging along for the ride. It's great. It really is.
Well, you add so much.
Thank you. I don't mean to be all self-congratulatory. I hate that when they go on television and they show a show on, they show like a news clip and they go, great story. It's like, well, shut up. Congratulations
to patronizing.
Us. Yeah. Yeah, but I agree. It feels like it's important work, and
it is
based on what
is.
People tell us, it helps some.
Yeah, it's as important as it is. It just is what it is. I mean, it has some relevance, and then in the big picture, it's not that relevant. Very small fraction of the human population is listening to this. I mean, it's okay to say, we're little, we're small, but we are what we are, and it is what it is, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
As opposed to either a condemnation for not being more, like a standard of perfection or some kind of measuring stick that you're gonna just do it.
Yeah.
Just be it.
Yeah. In fact, let's do it again.
Let's do it again.
Next week. All right. We'll see you next time.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks, man.
The zombies come out at night. I found myself scratching the ceiling of my brain, trying to catch a flight. See, I'm just a Negro trying to figure out what's wrong and what's right. See, I don't even know if I should listen to the Israelites or Brother Polite. I was also studying 5% while getting bent. I seen the zombies, the darkness seemed to jump me. My faith lacked, and I didn't know how to grab it back. I was stuck in my ways and just getting lit, when I should just be in somebody's pulpit. But I'm out with the zombies. Every morning, I would face the book, a book that barely speaks any truth. I would face an L. But see, I didn't receive any losses. I try to walk like I don't believe in wearing crosses. I want to create my own platform. I was destined to be great, that's a swarm. But I have these relapses where I really lynch my mind, and that liquor makes me feel fine. So I think, but it only brings more demons. And I hope I'm forgiven for acting like a heathen. Inshallah, alhamdulillah. From the voice and long hours at the bar. Truth is realizing your own scars. So I face myself. Can't even talk to some of my family members anymore. They think I need help. They heard I was listening to Farrakhan. They crucified me like they did Mary's son. Can I blow reefer around you as you speak truth to me? Can you look at the depths of my soul? Tell me what I got to sacrifice. Tell me where I should think twice. As I take a couple puffs, can you tell me how I can make my blessings double up? How can I stop worrying and such? Can you speak truth to me? Who am I? Where am I supposed to be? Is it right here where I'm lacking faith and having constant dates with fear? can I ask you this one thing? Can you run to the store and buy me another beer? Can I smoke this weed while drinking my 40? And I tell you how I feel. Can you promise not to break this seal? These scars are hard to peel, but if I open up, will you be able to deal?